What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and welcome to Shiftery Week. Now, what the heck is Shiftery Week? It was an idea that I had. I said, you know what? I am going to upload a video about Shiftery every day this week. Shiftery is the Community Day Pokemon for May, so we've got Shiftry or C.Community Day later this week, and I've actually been playing a lot of Shiftry in the Go Battle League's Great League. So because of that, I wanted to talk about Shiftry some today. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the merits of Shiftry, but if you want to see Shiftry in action yourself, hit that subscribe button, because I've got a bunch of videos coming showcasing Shiftry in a variety of different matchups and showing why I think it is so good. But this video is just going to be a who's who of Shiftry. I'm going to talk a little bit about what movesets you want on it and what applications it has. I'll touch on rating first. Shiftry is not really a great Pokemon for raiding purposes. The one draw to Shiftry is that it's a pretty common Pokemon, and Grass is a good enough attacking type, and you might be able to get some weather boosted C-Dots that you can just evolve and use. But the thing is, there's a lot of other really good Grass attackers, and there's also a lot of really good Dark and Ghost type attackers, so Shiftry's place in the raid metagame isn't super useful. It's also pretty frail. It doesn't even get up to 2500 CP, so it's definitely not the best use of your Stardust, but you can obviously just use your candy to evolve some Shiftry that you might have. Of course, there is Shadow Shiftry, but there's also a lot of really good grass and electric and even water type attackers that are also available as shadow Pokemon. So Shadow Shiftry as a grass type isn't super useful. It's like the 6th best grass shadow type. And there are also dark and ghost type shadows that also out DPS it. So from that perspective, even Shadow Shiftry isn't really strong enough to be using in raids. And for those of you that are curious, because Shiftry is going to be getting Bulllet Seed for Community Day, for raiding purposes, you do want Razor Leaf still on your Shiftrys as your fast move. You don't want to mess around with that Bullet Seed. But Bullet Seed might be useful sometimes. We'll talk about it in PvP. So let's move on and talk about Shiftry in PvP next. Ultimately, Shiftry is not going to be that great of a Pokemon for raiding, but where it really shines is in PvP. And I'm going to break down its place in PvP, both in Great League and in Ultra League right now. But if you want to see Shiftry in action in the Go Battle League, hit that subscribe button to follow along with all of the exciting content I have planned for Shiftry Week. Let's talk about Great League first. Obviously, Shiftry is a grass-type Pokemon, and that's important because the central Pokemon in the Great League is Azumarill. Basically, the Great League is Azumarill, and then grass-type Pokemon that beat it, and then all of these other Pokemon that Azumarill can beat. That's a little bit simplified, but basically, if you want to beat Azumarill, grass-type Pokemon are your best bet, and I think Shiftry is one of the best choices to do so. All grass Pokemon have their own strengths and weaknesses that they bring, but I really like what Shiftry brings to the table. I guess we should take a look at Shiftry's movesets for PvP. before we get too far here, and we are going to touch on this Community Day Bullet Seed that Shiftery will receive for May Community Day. Shiftery is a grass dark type Pokemon with 2 fast moves for each of its attacking types. It's got Razor Leaf and Bullet Seed as grass type fast moves, and Feint Attack and Snarl as its dark type attacks. And all of these have their own trade-offs. Razor Leaf is really good at dealing a lot of damage. Bullet Seed and Snarl are actually identical moves other than their attacking types, and both of those moves are really good at gaining energy. Feint Attack kind of splits the difference, but isn't really good. It just doesn't have the raw stats that the other moves do, either in damage or in energy. It's basically less damage and less energy and a whole lot less exciting. Now, Razor Leaf is a pretty good fast move, but the key to Shiftery is in the charge moves, and that is Leaf Blade primarily being Shiftery's main source of damage. Leaf Blade is one of the best charge moves in the game. I'd even probably say that it's better than Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant deals more damage per energy, but Leaf Blade only costs 35 energy to use, so you can really spam it. And that's why typically you see Shiftery played with the energy gaining fast move of Snarl, but Bullet Seed will also be an option come this Community Day. And there's some different trade-offs between Bullet Seed and Snarl depending on what league you are playing, but I think for the most part, people are going to err on the side of Snarl. You're also going to want to have Foul Play on your Shiftery as your dark type damage dealing move. There's no reason to have another grass type move because Leaf Blade is just so good, so don't bother with Leaf Tornado, and don't bother with Hurricane either. It's really expensive and doesn't have the same coverage that Snarl brings. Foul Play as a dark type move is just really good at hitting for neutral damage basically across the board, and there's not too many things that you really want to build up to a Hurricane against. So because Shiftery deals most of its damage through Leaf Blade, it means that it already has grass type damage covered, and for that reason Snarl is probably a better option. Like I said, dark type moves are just wholly less resisted than grass type moves are. If we can break down these 2 attacking types to just see which one is better, grass is super effective against water, ground, and rock types. So we'll put those over in the grass column, and then dark type attacks are only super effective against 2 things, and that's ghost and psychic types. So it looks like grass is winning. However, dark is only resisted by 3 different types. So that's fighting, dark itself, and then fairy type. So we'll put that in the grass column because you'd rather have a grass type attack against any of those 3 types. Grass type is resisted by 7 different attacking types: fire, grass, poison, flying, bug, dragon, and steel. And because that is just so many things, you can then see why dark becomes the preferential type to attack with, probably on average. You do also have to take note that you're not going to be fighting against all of these different attacking types. Fire might not be super relevant, rock might not be super relevant, but there is another interesting thing here. Like I said, Shiftery is already dealing a lot of grass type damage, and you might notice that over in the grass type column, we have water and we have fairy type. Well, that's Azumaril's typing. But Shiftery is already really good at killing Azumarils because it deals all that damage with its Leaf Blade. So even though you're using Snarl, a not very effective attack, rather than Bullet Seed, which would be a super effective attack, because all of your damage is coming from Leaf Blade anyways, you still easily win in all even shield scenarios against an Azumaril. And that's a pretty important way to think about how to view Snarl versus Bullet Seed. Are you going to care about a little bit more damage in these matchups that you're already totally crushing, or is dealing a little bit more damage in these matchups that you are losing going to be more beneficial? Either way, it's not that much damage, but it can make a difference here and there, to be sure. I would say the biggest argument to using Snarl would be against Skarmory and Altaria. And these are Pokemon that counter Shiftery pretty hard, but that double resist grass type moves. So if you're using Snarl plus Foul Play, you'll actually be able to deal a decent amount of damage to have coverage on these counters for your Shiftery. Now that being said, you can still do some interesting things with a grass type fast move. It makes farming down some Pokemon a lot easier, specifically Wishcash, Swampert, and potentially Azumarill. But the other thing, and this is a very specific one, but Umbreon is a pretty common Pokemon, and for Umbreon, you can actually turn a loss into a win by switching from Snarl to Bullet Seed. So if you're facing a lot of Umbreon, or you think Umbreon is a problem for your team, then you might want to have a Bullet Seed Shiftery. Now, if we look at data from pvpoke.com showcasing the Great League as a whole, we can see that a Snarl Shiftery has 339 wins and a Bullet Seed Shiftery has 324. Obviously, this is a little bit oversimplified and it doesn't really take into account the additional wins that you might receive by being able to farm down a Swampert or a Wishcash, but that's the data. Just looking at the field as a whole, Snarl does perform better. Obviously, you aren't just going to play each Pokemon one time, though, and have that battle rating be reflected in the Go Battle League. And if you're using Shiftery as a leading Pokemon and you're seeing a fair amount of Umbreon, you might want to try out a Bullet Seed Shiftery. So that's the main argument to be made for Snarl. I'm probably going to try out Bullet Seed as well, but I've already played over 100 games with Snarl Shiftery, so I definitely feel more confident with that. Obviously, Bullet Seed Shiftery isn't available yet. If you do want to see that Snarl Shiftery in action, and you can use that to help inform your own decisions, obviously you can check out the rest of the videos here as a part of Shiftery Week. I also, though, want to talk about Ultra League because Shiftery is really, really good in that league as well. I think Shiftery is a pretty fantastic Pokemon for the Ultra League, and for that reason, Shiftery is a really good Pokemon to try to swap and get a lucky version of, and max out and even best buddy for use in the Ultra League. The Ultra League was previously defined by 3 Pokemon, one being Registeel, but the other 2 being Swampert, a ground water type, and Giratina, a ghost type Pokemon. Shiftery can obviously tear Swampert to shreds, but it is also super effective and resistant to Giratina, so it is a really, really good Pokemon in the Ultra League and that may have even just gotten better. Cresselia is looking like that is going to be another premier option in the Ultra League, and Cresselia also does a good job at answering Giratina and Swampert, but you know what? Shiftry also answers Cresselia. So Shiftry is a really, really good option in the Ultra League. Again, you are going to want that Snarl. You really want the Snarl for both Giratina and Cresselia. And against Swampert, it doesn't really matter. Your Leaf Blade will one-shot it if you can ever get it to connect, whereas Foul Play is a little bit more expensive of a charge move, so dealing some damage with your Snarl does improve the Cresselia and Giratina matchup. So for Ultra League, you're definitely going to want to consider Shiftery. You're going to want to have Snarl, and you might want a Lucky one and a Best Buddy one as well to do really well in that format. Shiftery maxes out well below the 2,500 CP cap, like I said before, so it's not really going to be super useful in raids. It's not really going to be good at all in the Master League, but the Ultra League just has this perfect blend of Pokemon where the top 3 Pokemon are all really weak to Shiftry. I'm curious what we're going to see in the Ultra League in Season 2. In Season 1, the lead metagame, basically by the end of it, centralized around Mewtwo and Melmetal, and obviously both of those Pokemon can deal a lot of fighting type damage, so Shiftry isn't really that great against those Pokemon, though I'd be interested to see how Shiftry can stack up against Armored Mewtwo. Specifically, I think Armored Mewtwo probably still gets the W there, but Shiftry is still going to be a really, really important Pokemon for this season. You won't need it to have its special move, so if you find time to trade with a friend after Community Day, obviously trading is a little bit tricky right now, but maybe you can get your hands on a lucky C-Dot and evolve it, and it will still be really good in the Ultra League. That's everything Shiftry basically that I got for you. I think it's a really, really good Pokemon in both the Ultra League and Great League. And I guess I didn't really talk too much about why I think it is the best grass-type Pokemon in the Great League. So I'll circle back on that a little bit. But basically, if you think about the counters to Shiftry, or the counters to grass-type Pokemon at large, it's going to be that Altaria, it's going to be that Skarmory. And a lot of Pokemon like Meganium or Venusaur, they use Frenzy Plant, and then their coverage move is letting them hit other things in the metagame. For Venusaur, it's letting them hit other grass types. For Tropius, it's letting them hit other grass types. And for Meganium, it's that Earthquake that lets it hit Registeel. But what makes Shiftry so different is that the Dark move, the Foul Play, is just good across the field. And that's what I think Shiftry is really good at doing, is just being a consistently good Pokemon. And it's always funny when a Skarmory or an Altaria has to shield your grass-type Pokemon's charge move. So that's why I really love Shiftry, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Can't wait to show some of those videos to you guys out there. So one last time, I'll remind you, if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that like button to let me know if you want to see more in the future. As well, feel free to comment and let me know what you want to see, and I'll answer those comments as well as any other questions that you might have about Shiftry or Community Day or Pokemon Go. That's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy Shiftry Week. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.